Next up at UFC Vegas 73, we have Orion Cosce returning after a little bit of a layoff, and he's taking on Gilbert Urbina. Orion Cosce 8-1 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, coming off the first decision win of his career. He's taking on Gilbert Urbina, 6-2 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that tough finale loss to Bryan Battle, but if you remember, I believe he lost in the semifinals as well and was only in the actual finale because there was an injury there. So kind of riding 2 losses.
Lost to Trayshawn.
Yeah, kind of riding 2 losses in a row here. But this is essentially grappler versus grappler matchup. And Orion Cosce, he's got impressive strength. He's got powerful wrestling. His fight IQ is a bit shoddy. His chin is also a bit shoddy, but he's a grinder. He's going to pressure forward the entire fight. And as long as he's not chasing finishes and relying on, and instead is relying on his technique and relying on positions, he should do pretty well. He is coming off the first decision win of his career, which was nice to see because we hadn't seen him go the distance before. And it was over Blood Diamond, who is not very good on the ground, but is very dangerous on his feet. And Orion was able to avoid all of those troubles. He was completely outstruck, but he didn't get knocked out. Taking on Gilbert Urbina, as I mentioned, he's also a very good grappler. He's pretty competent on his feet as well, really high striking output with more than 6 significant strikes per minute. But if you watch his fights, he's got no striking defense whatsoever, and he gets a negative striking differential. To be landing more than 6 significant strikes per minute and still have a negative striking differential is like, that's impressive. Like you're somehow managing to get hit very, very often. He's coming off that submission loss to Bryan Battle, where he did have 2 of his own takedowns, but he couldn't defend the one single shot that Bryan took. This is a straight up pick 'em of a fight. I'm surprised that it hasn't fully become a pick 'em, but the odds have tightened quite a bit, right? Gilbert went from a 2-1 underdog to basically even money.
Minus 115 now. Minus 115, minus 105. It's almost there, baby.
It's tightening, and it should be a pick 'em.
Like a thing.
Orion's been out for a little while. He's coming back, but as I mentioned, can be a bit sloppy. Gilbert Urbina coming off 2 losses in a row. He pressures forward, but also doesn't have much if you pressure him. I think probably Orion's going to be the pick here because I think he is a little bit better everywhere, has a little more experience. But the reality is the only bet to make here is when Bet Online, I believe DraftKings has these as well, when they drop the who gets more takedowns in this fight prop bet. I'm going Orion.
Okay.
All right, good. I'm going Orion there because I do think he's going to shoot earlier, shoot more often. His takedowns are far better than Gilbert's, and Gilbert's takedown defense is not very good. So that's the bet I'm going to be looking for. Pick-wise, probably Orion, but super sketchy fight, super close fight. Just another one on this card that you have to find a very specific spot.
Right, yeah, I completely agree. This is another one where these guys are just so evenly matched. It's really hard to determine who is going to be able to withstand the other's game plan and focus on implementing their own game plan. And I think in this fight, it's going to come down to cardio. I think it literally is just going to come down to cardio. Who is able to out-grapple the other one? Because I think they both want to be the offensive grapplers in this fight. And maybe that's one of those weird fights where they're both kind of grapplers, so then they end up striking and then weird things happen. But I believe that Orion's going to come in and try to wrestle this guy. And is he going to get too tired to where Urbina is going to be able to take over in those situations? And I just don't see it. I think you mentioned it in the last fight. Orion, you saw some fatigue issues, but he was pushing through that fatigue. He was still getting takedowns, even though you could tell he was visibly tired in that fight. And yes, it was against Blood Diamond, who's not a great grappler, but I feel like in this fight, I can trust his cardio a little bit more. And I honestly think that's all this fight comes down to. It's going to come down to cardio. Orion just going to work and work and work, eventually get the takedowns. I don't think he's going to be able to get a finish. We'll see, but I think that's all it's going to come down to. And Cosce is going to win this fight.
Yeah, so we're on the same side. You sound a little more confident than I am, but I definitely do think and actually, if you look at the takedown average, Gilbert is averaging more takedowns, but this number is an average per 15 minutes. That's how they do that number. So he had a couple of takedowns against Bryan Battle and then was submitted. So it didn't go a full 15 minutes. So If I take you down twice in 1 minute, and then
you're not gonna fucking take me down. You're not gonna fucking take me down. You're not gonna touch my hips. You're gonna touch my legs.
I would really prefer not to.
I'll take this thing through your fucking skull, fat boy.
Okay. Now you're gonna talk yourself into a corner, and then in the next Fight Foods, somebody's gonna fucking smack your mouth. Okay. Okay. So we're both on the same side. As I mentioned, the bet that I'll be looking for and the bet that I will likely place is that Orion Cosce more takedowns. And you're going to get multiple. If you sign up with Bet Online, first of all, use our link. I'll send you $50 as a thank you. Just go to weonpicks.com/bets. Use that link, sign up. I will straight up send you $50 as a thank you. They have the earliest lines and the most amount of prop bets of any book, which is why we like them so much. You're going to get 3 different takedown prop bets for every single fight on the card. First, it's going to be fighter A with a takedown line, right? It'll be more than a half a takedown, more than 10, whatever it is. Fighter B, exact same thing. And then you're going to get who gets more takedowns in this fight. In this case, I like Orion. And honestly, we might get plus money on that because they're going to look at the stat on Gilbert, not factor in how that number actually comes about. So yeah, do those things.